So a woman in Auckland says a builder has left her in the lurch with an unfinished garage and poorly done flooring, and she wants a refund of the $30,000 she paid him. In a nutshell, she hired this man. She met him actually at a gathering at her sister's house. He had a company. They agreed on a price. He was going to do her flooring. Her house was damaged in the floods last year, the big floods of January, and painting for about $12,000. Then she said she wanted to update her garage, and he could do that too for an extra $38,000. On Call Renovations was the name of his company. She paid him $30,000 over the course of 4 months, and at the end of 3 months, the work was not anywhere near done. And then she did already pay him. She claimed she paid him $30,000 before it was finished. She said the flooring was mostly done, but the garage was basically just a roof. There was paint everywhere. The floor had creaks, and this guy was basically blocking her. Roshni Devi is her name. His name was, well, he goes by a couple of names, Sanjay Kumar and John Sam Kumar. So apparently this isn't the first time this guy Kumar has been accused of leaving people out of pocket. Apparently in 2019, he was hired to do some painting. He had a different business name, SSK Renovation and Home Services. And again, the person that he got to do the job just basically didn't do it, then didn't turn up, and then stopped responding to this person's texts. So what can you do when this happens? Consumer New Zealand's comms advisor is Abby Damen, and she is with us on the platform. Hello, Abby.
Hi, can you hear me?
That sounds better. Good to hear you.
Yes.
Don't know whose end that was at, but we've got you now. From
All
Consumer,
good.
this is Abby Damen. Abby, I don't know if you heard then. I
did.
relaying. You
Yep.
did.
I heard
Now,
all of it, yep.
Yeah. Now, I had a couple of thoughts about the fact that I don't think she kind of did her due diligence, unfortunately, because he had a bit of form in the past, and I think she went with the first person. But I mean, some people do that, and it doesn't mean you're going to get someone that's a cowboy. But is this one of the most common complaints that Consumer receives?
Yeah, I think it is important to start by saying that, obviously this guy is a cowboy, and my main piece of advice is around doing your homework and your due diligence. But, we also have to be really careful to not, blame victims as well, because at the end of the day, it's like we are all busy, and as with this story, it's really interesting. It's someone that they've met in person, which, it's sort of often a lot you get a gut feeling with someone. So the fact that they even passed that barrier is really interesting. So I think there's certainly a lot at play. I guess in terms of us, it's certainly one of the most common industries that we get complaints about, as well as just general complaints with services and goods not meeting their obligations under the CGA. We also get complaints about travel and insurance and supermarkets.
Sure.
And builders are certainly up there.
What can you do if we just look at you get a builder that doesn't come up to what you thought you were going to get? If they're not a registered builder, say, or a licensed tradesperson, is there any? Can you come back at it, or have you lost your money?
Well, it's going to depend on a few things. So obviously we know doing your due diligence is the preferred situation. Yeah. But let's say you had a contract. Obviously it's really tricky with this particular story because you explain the man has changed names and businesses and has even been served fines by the disputes tribunal and appears to be evading them. So you really want to make sure that if you get a contract, because they're going to have a name and address on there, and hopefully it's a real name and a real address. Another way to verify that is by checking that they're a registered or licensed trade person.
Right.
That's just going to give you more rights under consumer law if something does go wrong. And you can do that just by looking them up on it's called the LPB, which is the Licensed Building Practitioner website. I guess another thing that might help is if you happened to pay by credit or Visa card. And I think, when we're talking about sole traders or, one-off tradespeople, I think about, I need to get my shower fixed. There's a leak at the moment, and I will contact my local plumber. I'm not engaging with the business. I pay via bank transfer. Something that would give me a little more protection would actually be paying by Visa or credit card. So if you can also, and this is part of doing your due diligence, if you can get more than one quote and say one of those quotes gives you the option to pay via credit card or Visa, you're a little bit more protected because you can ask your bank to reverse that payment if you find yourself in a real pickle, like this one has lost $30,000.
Yeah, that is a good point. Right.
Yeah, so obviously the bank's got its own rules as well, so you want to have a chat with them and they're going to ask for quite a lot of information too. And yeah, I think that just comes with that disclaimer that obviously bank transfers are way more common. But, there are services like Henry that a lot of sole traders use these days, and they're a bit more popular, and they usually offer the option to pay via credit or Visa.
Yeah, no, Henry's great. I mean, I used to be with him last year when I was doing some contract work, and they're very good. So, but even if you don't have say you didn't have a licensed tradesperson, you used a friend of a friend who gave you this person. I mean, but if, in the case of there is some unethical behaviour or some poorly, the job is done poorly, you can still report them to the regulatory board, can't you?
Well,
whether they're licensed or not?
That's a really good question. I'm pretty sure that the CGAs are protecting consumers, and it's in relation to companies and businesses. I think if we're talking about someone doing a cashier with a friend, you're not necessarily going to have protection.
Yeah.
I guess generally under the Consumer Guarantees Act, work's done by tradespeople, so people who are, running under a business of some sort, needs to be carried out with reasonable care and skill. And in the CGA, that's deliberately open-ended, because what is reasonable care and skill? If you've got a roof that's brand new and it starts leaking, I think we could probably say that's not been done with reasonable care and skill, and assuming that they are a business or a registered business, then you're going to have a leg to stand on. And again, that just comes back to checking that they're a registered or licensed trade person. You're just going to have more protection. Yeah.
Have you got any, I mean, it might be putting you on the spot. Have you got anything that kind of sits in the top of your head, front of your head, of some of the worst kind of stories you've heard?
Oh, some of the worst. Well, one of them is like a roof that has started leaking. I did a quick review of, which, I'm sorry, but this is a roof. It should not leak. Full stop.
No. That's not